Well, Chris, just a couple of days to go.
Yes.
First of all, how did the last week of training go?
Yeah, really good. I said to the lads at the start of the week, this is the best week in football, leading to a new season. A lot of excitement and a lot of competition for places with the boys. So it changes a little bit, the dynamic changes, but it's been really good. Fantastic set of lads. Really enjoyed working with them.
And have you got any injury concerns? I know there's a few niggles after Western.
Yeah, we have, which is, it's always frustrating. You have to get the balance right between protecting the boys and obviously getting the work in. So, there's been a couple of conversations and a couple of days where we've had to be careful. But I'm no different to any other manager. We're all in the same boat. So tomorrow's the day where we need them all on that training field for sure.
Do you think you'll have the full squad to choose from?
Not quite. A couple might just fall short, which is unfortunate for them because you want to be involved in the first game of the season for sure. But it gives someone else an opportunity, and that's always the case in football, isn't it?
And since we spoke last, Finley's joined on loan.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about him?
Well, he can play in multiple positions. Very well thought of by the boys at Plymouth. Had a couple of conversations with Plymouth about him, and he can play in a lot of the positions that we're looking at and formations. So, really good lad, wants to do well, very ambitious, and wants to learn. So he's a great addition for us. And
as is always at this time of the season, there's some rumours floating around about getting a goalkeeper in. Do you know if that's in the pipeline?
Lots of rumours. Lots of rumours. Can't comment on rumours at the moment, but yeah, there's as is the nature of football. It's a very fast moving sport, isn't it? And there might be a couple of the conversations being had before the weekend, but the main thing is that we've just got to focus on what we're about, trying to get better, trying to create that bond within all of the players within the group, and that's what pre-season has been. So, I've really enjoyed working with them. I think there's a long way to go, and there's a lot of work to do for sure. And we're not naive enough to think we've got it right so far. We need to keep recruiting well in a competitive market.
And attention turning to Scunthorpe,
yes.
Of course. Recently they've brought in a flurry of players. Has that sort of changed how you've prepared for it?
No, I thought they would. I know they've shown some financial clout in doing that. They're a club that expectations are high. I've been a coach against Scunthorpe. I've played against Scunthorpe. I know the club. I know what the fans want from the club. And relegation would have been hugely disappointing. So they'll be hoping to do what's been done very rarely, which is to bounce back. It's really difficult, isn't it, as we know in this league with so many competitive teams in it. But yeah, strong team, a lot of change around of personnel, signed some good players. So it's a huge test for us, but one that all the staff and players are looking forward to.
Do you see sort of similarities between Scunthorpe and Yeovil when they dropped out of the Football League a few years ago? You're going to try and use that experience of the National League to go and beat them? Yeah,
well, big clubs aren't, both of us are big clubs. Both clubs want to be in the Football League. Both clubs have had a good history. We can't focus too much on them. We've got to think about ourselves and what we're about. And that's what the players have been told. We'll do our due diligence and look at them, and as we have. And what I've seen is a well-organised front foot side. So, good test. And, we hope we go up to Scunthorpe and put a good display on.
And we've spoken a lot, haven't we, about how difficult the National League is. How important do you think it is to get off to that good start? Because it's a tough home game straight after that as well, isn't it?
Two games that you want to play in though as a player, and that's what I've said to the players. You've got to look forward to these challenges. You've got to play all the teams. There's no hiding away from it, and there's huge squads, there's huge budgets. I get all of that, and we can't keep talking about that. We've just got to focus on what we can do as a football club, what we can recruit, and how we can prepare the players, and that's what we've been doing. So full focus on getting on that coach fully fit, all the players, and and performing in front of the cameras, and for the players, it's about their self-motivation as well, what they want to do in their careers and this season, and whatever they're playing football for, whether it's achievement, money, for family. There's loads of variables involved in that, and once they step over the white line, they've got to show how much they care for the club, and that's what we've reiterated in pre-season.
And we were just saying off air, you had a lot of youngsters down at training today. How good does it feel at Yeovil Town as a whole club?
Yeah, very good at the training ground today. You can see what it can become, and you can see that we want the youngsters growing up to want to play for the club. And there's no better feeling for a fan to turn up and see that lad that's been nurtured. It becomes more difficult when the academy has to go, but Matty and the team are doing a fantastic job to try and create competitive young players to be able to come into our squad, and a few have in pre-season, which has been a big plus. So we're trying to get that collective spirit together. Fans have had it tough, players have had it tough, we know that, but all we can do is try and galvanise it and say, look, we appreciate your support. We're doing our best to put a team out that'll be competitive, and that's what we're trying to do.
Thank you very much, and good luck.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Eddie. Sorry, I was miles away. Chris, it's obviously been a tough week, I would imagine. The anticipation, getting the boys to the peak of fitness that you possibly can. How has it been for you? Because obviously it's your first actual league game as a manager.
Yeah. It's enjoyable. Don't get me wrong. There's trials and tribulations with it, but I think with all of us, what we've experienced at this football club, there's sometimes you've got to reflect on what you have got and not what you haven't got. And I think having seen without going too deeply into it, seeing what my sort of family have been through recently, and I think that I'm so lucky to be doing what I'm doing. Now, again, I'm not naive enough to know how difficult it is and what challenge we've got ahead of us, but I've got to get a grip of reality at times and say, fantastic club, loads of good lads giving it a real good go to try and be successful. And so I've enjoyed that aspect of it. The recruitment, the challenges of getting players here, it's a test. And it will be for any manager. Unless you've got millions of pounds to spend, it will be a test. So I can't hide away from that fact that's been challenging, and it remains to be a challenge. But those lads that have got the good fortune to put that shirt on Saturday have got to show how much they want to stay in the team. And successful teams I've been in, we've run with small squads, and you've stayed fit and you've made sure you play every week. So that's all I can focus on at the moment.
How difficult has it been getting the new players in that you've brought in? You've brought in quite a few now.
Yeah, not enough. Not enough. There's a couple to go, that's for sure. But the lads that have come in have shown that they're either determined to continue with what they've already done in their careers, or they're determined to get a career going. And those are the two sort of conversations we've had. The more experienced lads have chosen us over several clubs and chosen us over more money. And that shows to me that they want to play for a big club in this league, which we are. The younger lads, they are a project. They are no doubt about it, and we'll have to at times be patient with them. And I'd asked everybody to do that because they're not the finished article. And I'll get frustrated and everyone will get frustrated and the players will. But we've got to bear with it if we're going to go down that model of making players better. So that's the two sort of ways I'm looking at it at the moment.
It seems to me, though, that the National League, the National League before it was the conference, agents weren't quite so prolific. Now it seems as though every player's got God knows how many agents that you've got to tackle with. Does that make it that much more difficult? Well,
like anything, there's always agents you'll perhaps get on with more than others, and there's agents that know every single thing about their player on and off the pitch, and there's agents that might not know as much about the player, and I'm particularly talking about what they can do out there when they cross over the white line. In some instances, I think that the players have to have them. And a good agent is worth his weight in gold, because they will be persistent, and they might get you through a door when you might not get through a door yourself. Where we struggle is when they're asking for unrealistic amounts, and that we've got to cut it off.
Yeah.
We've got to live to our means at this football club.
Yeah.
And if we don't do that, then we'll get ourselves into financial difficulty like other clubs have in the past, and we can't do it. So we've got to get a balance right between trying to compete, which we want to do. We're all desperate to do well, none more so than me, because it's a 24/7 job, and I know what I've stepped into. But there has to be a sort of calmness where we can't go crazy unless one of us wins the Euro Millions and spend millions of pounds, because it's not sustainable for any club. And we've seen the likes, I've just popped into the head of Darlington over the years, where it's been a successful club that suddenly demised badly, and that they've been working so hard in the last few seasons to get back up. So we've got to get the balance right of our spending for sure.
Have the squad, got to know each other now? I mean, there's a lot of new ones coming in. Are they all sort of getting on well?
No, they are. I think they raised an eyebrow when they were jumping up mud banks in Newton Abbot not so long ago, but it's just trying to build a camaraderie, aren't you? That's what you're trying to. Maybe when you're tracking back in December at Halifax away, you're thinking about the time you were all digging in together in the summer, and that's why we all try and do it. We try and get camaraderie and build off those things. So they've been really good, the lads. I must say they've been really good. And I've had a couple of conversations with all of them together about what they've all been through at this club, and that has brought that core group closer together. So we have to look at that and say, keep it going, and anyone who comes into the group has got to be absolutely spot on, because we can't have any splinters. We've got to have a united team.
Of the new players you brought in, have any of them got sort of exceptionally standout skills? I mean, they're obviously all good, because you wouldn't have bought them otherwise. But I mean, are there any that really stand out to you in terms of their skill base?
Yeah, they're all different. They're all different. Some we've recruited for leadership, some we've recruited because we think they've got huge potential, and some hit the ground running, and some might find it more difficult, and that's been the case. It's a different environment. You're living in a different area. You're trying to get to know the club and the people. So that's a great learning curve for some of these lads. But in the main, I've got to say that the boys that have walked into this club have absolutely given it everything from day one, and you can't ask for any more than that.
Well, it's all happening tomorrow.
Yes.
Not tomorrow, Friday.
Saturday. Yeah.
Get it right in a minute.
Yeah.
Handy that you got BT Sport to pop in. That's good move. That
It had to be, didn't it? It had to be.
Yeah.
Now, BT's to me a fantastic organisation that has highlighted the league really well. I genuinely believe that. I think some of the stories, we all know, don't we? And we've said it loads of times. What does this football club mean to this community? It means a lot, and that's the same at every other club that's featured. Now, there's pressure on us straight away because we're playing against a very good side away from home, in front of the cameras. We've got to embrace it. You've got to believe that you're good enough to go and put a performance on. It'll be interesting for me, having been at BT, because it's totally different now. I never had a bad game when I worked for BT, that's for sure. I had a man of the match every game. I was excellent. But let's hope they're kind to us and fair either way. You've got to be fair, that's for sure, because they've got to have an opinion. But we know what we want to do this season. It's just about the boys taking those steps to try and put a good performance on.
Well, hopefully Alan Berger will be doing it, because he's ex-Yeovil, so he ought to have a soft spot for us.
That's right. Expect Bergs to be very kind, don't we, at the weekend?
Yeah.
But I've spoken to the guys, and I'm going to ring them today. Matty and Jeff and Aaron and Vergs. Know them all very well. And for lots of different clubs, BT has, pluses and minuses. I understand that. But I do genuinely think it's highlighted the league more than ever. And the exposure that the league gets is excellent. It is so competitive that I class it as League 5, 100%. League 4, whatever you want to describe it as, because it is very, very competitive. I work closely in League 2 as a coach, as a manager, as a player, and I've worked closely in capacities in the National League, and I see very little difference.
Well, best of luck tomorrow,
Thank you.
Chris. I hope you
have top man. Thank you.
Tomorrow, Saturday. I'll
Saturday.
get it right in a minute.
I keep saying it as well. Yeah, Saturday.
You have a storming start.
Thank you.
3 points and no injuries.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Paul on Zoom now.
Hey Chris, how you doing?
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Just touching back on the transfers, you seem to have bought a mix of youngsters and then experienced players. Was that a deliberate part by you? Just trying to find a good balance within the squad?
It was. I'm still not there yet, and I've got no problem talking about that. We need a couple more, and that sometimes takes time. And I think within players that we've looked at recruiting, they may be waiting for those league clubs a little bit longer. And I've had conversations, with managers all week, and they're all in the same boat. Unless you're going out and you are making huge statements with big contracts, then you'll have to be a little bit more patient. But we've gone with boys that have got the bit between the teeth and need to get the career started, and we've gone with 3 or 4 that have got the t-shirt, seen it, done it, but are still relatively young, and have got a lot more miles in the tank.
One of those is Sam Pearson. Is there any particular reason it's only a 1 month to begin with?
It was just, I think, conversation between me and Bristol City and Brian. It's just for both of the clubs. It's just for the both of the clubs. We expect it to be a longer term loan, but I think you've got to be fair to both parties at the start and see what the player thinks of the club, see what the club think of the player. It's done up and down the country. Sam's been brilliant on the training ground. I had a good chat with him this morning about in and out of possession, and he's been, a real breath of fresh air. So, yeah, no problem with it whatsoever. I think I see it as a positive, because if the player really doesn't want to be there, that's fine. We're not holding them to ransom. And if we really don't want to play there here, vice versa. So there has to be some honesty with it. But as I say, from day one, he has been excellent.
In recent seasons, Yeovil have kind of prided themselves on being really strong defensively, but have perhaps struggled going forward. Pre-season looks to have gone the same way so far. Is there any kind of way of changing that, or will it be just fitness and the new attacking players bedding themselves in, and we can get going when the season starts?
Yeah, maybe we haven't quite in those attacking areas hit the ground running where we might have liked to. You can get to a point and you can put 100 different attacking drills on. Essentially, it comes down to that final third where someone will drop the shoulder one way, turn the other, and beat a player and put it in the bottom corner. And I'm not stopping anyone doing that. And that's individuality in the final third, and that's what we're hoping for. It hasn't quite clicked for some players so far, but you're spot on. The resilience has been excellent. More often than not, those final third players are the ones that take a little bit longer to recruit and a little bit longer to bed in. But I'm confident that the players that we've got in have got that in their armoury. But for sure, we've probably not quite taken that shot early enough, or been front foot enough when the ball's coming in the box to really believe it. So these are the things we're working on. These are the things that we need to get better at. But again, I'll reiterate, I'm not on my own with that. I'm not one of the only managers that will be saying that. We're always trying to get better in all of the thirds of the pitch, or however you want to articulate it. And the recruitment hunt continues, and will do all season, because we're always looking to bring good players in.
Obviously, you yourself are new to the area, but you look to have immersed yourself in going around the town and community and talking to fans. You're talking to them again at the Western game. What have they been saying to you, and how have you found it?
Win games, score loads of goals, get promoted. That's what they've been saying. No, they've been absolutely fantastic, and I have really appreciated it, and so have the lads, and the lads have already told me anyway, so I know what the players think of the fans. And they couldn't have done it without the fans. They couldn't have got through the periods that they've got through, whether whether it be tragedy or lockdowns, without the fans. And the fans have shown support when they haven't been able to turn up to the football ground, and have shown support when they have. And we're very thankful of that, and I make sure that the players know that. It's a collective, isn't it? We want to do well. We're not wearing rose-tinted spectacles. We know what we're up against. We're up against some massive firepower and massive clubs in a very competitive league. But this club is a very big football club, and we've had a good history, and we want to try and get back to those times and those days. It won't be done overnight, that's for sure, but we've got to at least believe that we can do that.
That's great. All the best for Saturday, Chris.
Thank you very much.
Hey, that probably just leaves me then, Chris.
Best till last.
There you go, best till last. Very kind of you to say so, the grand finale. So when you joined us on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, you mentioned about there are a lot of names on boards in your office. And you've already said, and I think you basically said without quite saying it, that there are still some of those names on the boards that you're trying to bring in. And would I be fair to assume that one of those is probably someone in an attacking position, a striker? I'm not saying there's 30-goal-a-season strikers just lying around the place, but would that be fair to assume?
No, it would be fair. I think we're looking at depth, really, aren't we? We're looking at the players we've got in are really good players, there's no doubt about that, and they offer different attributes, but we've got to add to it because we don't want to be short, and that's what we're trying to do, and it'll continue up until I get on that coach tomorrow, and it'll continue when I arrive back from Scunthorpe. But once we are on the coach, we've got to focus on what we have got in the building and look at how we can affect the game. But we will still be looking, of course we will, but it's to add to the lads we've already got. It's not instead of.
Absolutely. And you've obviously had a number of trialists, and Finlay obviously joined, having played at the weekend. Another one, it's always a good game in pre-season, trying to guess the trialists, guess who they all are. I'm gonna go with the name Stanley Anabonum. I think might have featured in a couple of friendlies. I'm not expecting you to confirm that one, but is he of interest to you? Is there any future for him or any of the trialists that have been with you over pre-season?
Yeah, we've had a look at a lot of players, and Stanley being one of them, and some we haven't committed to, and some we've said we'll monitor. I think it's been important to do that. It's shown us what perhaps how hungry some lads are and how much they need an opportunity. There's only so many places, and we definitely have to strike a balance with, I'd call them projects, too many projects, because we need some experience, and that's at the moment where my mindset would be leaning towards. We've got Alex Fisher, who's vastly experienced and has shown a massive appetite to play for this football club, but we need a little bit more of his ilk, and like I say, it may take another week, it may take another couple of weeks, but it sometimes doesn't happen overnight. But there's one thing for certain, the boys that do step on the coach tomorrow, very happy with. There's some lads chomping at the bit, and there's only so many places on that bench, so
yeah.
I'm not too worried about having a huge squad, because we can't get them all in. But we're definitely still looking for a little bit more experience for sure.
Okay, and looking the other way as far as trialists, you may have spotted Toby Stevens, perhaps playing for Truro City at the weekend. And again, not expecting you to confirm that, but is there opportunities for some of those younger players, the likes of Toby, the likes of Ollie Hayes perhaps, for going out there and getting that experience in first team games? Oh,
definitely. That's so important, isn't it? Because I've worked within 23s at different clubs, Bournemouth and Bristol Rovers most recently, and you can be that lost group, can't it? Where you get to a certain age, and I see it now. I see lists of players and look at their appearances, and you might be 22, 23, and you've made no league appearances. It's incredible. So we want them to go out and play some men's football, and it means a lot on a Saturday afternoon. They were very close to staying around it with us, but I feel for them, and I'm thinking about them as well, that they need that month of at least of competitive football. I've spoke to Paul Watt and he's been delighted with them in the training sessions. So it's about them impacting and making an impression, and that's what they're determined to do.
Absolutely. Just sticking on the pre-season theme, one position that's maybe surprised a few is Charlie Wakefield playing in more of a wing-back position. This is obviously is a formation that you've adopted all the way through pre-season. What's your thinking behind that? He's obviously someone that we've seen playing far further forward, in fact centre forward at some points last season. What do you see from Charlie bringing to that position?
Yeah, he's still going to play in the positions you mentioned, and we've reverted to some systems in pre-season. You know, the behind closed doors game. We've worked in training games as well in systems. Changed it in a couple of games as well. Trying to get a group of players on the pitch that we can do that with, that are adaptable. Charlie sees himself as an attacking player for sure, but he will be in that position. Whether it's wing back, right wing or centre forward, he can play all three of them, and I've got no doubt in my mind he can do that, and he can be successful in all of them. And he's what he is, and what I've been really pleased and impressed with is he wants to do that. He actually wants to play in all those positions and do well in them, and that'll only benefit him. So there's no doubt about it. We've flicked from one or two formations, and he's a part of that and can adapt in both of those. And it's a position that, those positions are ones that, if he wants to play at a higher level, and I know he does, that if he nails all of those, you're a much more attractive proposition for us as a club and for any other club.
Absolutely. And then just one final question from me, just looking obviously forward to the weekend and the game there. I mean, how difficult is it to scout an opposition that obviously hasn't been in this division up until now? And there's probably not that much footage going around of pre-season games. How much can you read into anything as far as Scunthorpe United are concerned?
Well, a little bit. You're right. You're not going to know as much as you would in a normal fixture, for sure, but we've got an idea of the players they have and what abilities they've got. Similarly, they'll have the same on us. So you've got to be aware of their dangers, and they have got a few, that's for sure. And they've got some experience around the squad and the team, but you've got to focus on yourselves. You've got to look at what you can do and how you can affect the opposition, and that's what we'll be doing.
Absolutely. And no nerves. 5:20 on Saturday. You're gonna be feeling any butterflies in your stomach, or is that just because Aaron McLean will be there giving you a hard time from the touchline?
I think Aaron McLean might be more nervous about the jacket he's got to pick for this weekend more than me being worried about. Yeah, for anybody, it's natural to have those butterflies and that nervous anticipation, I'd call it, for a game. I know the responsibility I've got as a manager, and there's no hiding away from the fact, and that's why I took the job. I've got no problem with that. I'm a big ugly northerner that's got big shoulders, so I'm aware of the responsibility I've got, and there will be nervous excitement, but you got to look forward to it, and you got to see it as a great challenge. And I've said the same to the players. So BT Sport or no BT Sport, it's a game of football against a competitive team, and we just got to impact ourselves on the game.
Yeah, right. We're looking forward to seeing Aaron McLean's suit now with which one he picks.
I'm not looking forward to seeing it, but yeah, no, great lad. I'll give him back what he gives to me. I think that's how we'll leave it.
Fantastic. Right. Well, thanks very much, Chris, and best of luck. And I'm sure
you're welcome.
Yourself and many others will be cheering you on.
Thank you very much. Yeah.